Hi, my name's Tommy Burdine McIntyre, and welcome to my channel. This is the painting that I'm going to be recording, hopefully most of the process for you. It's called Earth, Sky, and Heaven. This is going to be part one of the series. I don't know how many. There'll be at least three. This is the shortest. I'm just going to give the basics of how I started it out. Initially, I'm starting with 140-pound rough watercolor paper, and I'm going to mask out a whole bunch of areas so that I can do the sky in the background. For masking, I use these old beat up ink nibs, dip pen nibs. They work really well. As you can see, in a lot of the ink gets mixed in with the masking fluid. Winsor & Newton masking fluid. Honestly, I've not used another brand. I've never used masking fluid before, so this is really like, I don't know, the third or fourth time that I've used it. I try to keep it on the paper for as short a time as possible. So I try to put it on, let it dry, and then paint, and then as soon as the paint's dry, I take it right off again. I think that if I leave it on a long time, especially since my window in my studio here coming through is right on to my painting board, I think the sun might affect it too. So I'm just carefully going along the edges, the parts that I'm not covering, except for in the very center, where you can see my tree slice. That's kind of one of my signature things in my work the last few years. So that's in the middle, but I'm masking out all the areas that I don't want to have a nice deep saturated blue for the sky background. I mostly ended up using this wide nib. I tried the pointy part too, but I found, as I do when I'm using dip pens in general, that it tends to catch and splatter. I think I've got a really bad technique. I know it doesn't happen to everybody. I masked off large areas of the work with some old cardstock. You can see the green tape kind of holding it together. My son helped me do it. For some reason, I couldn't wrap my brain around it, and he's like, okay. And he just kind of took over, so that was cool. And that ended up working pretty well. I was kind of worried that I'd get bleed through in areas that I didn't want, but it was okay. I think if I had been using a really, really wet, like a wet into wet wash for those areas, that it would have been a problem. But I kept my water at a minimum, and that seems to work out really well. You can see I'm dealing with cat hair, like a little black fuzz that I keep running into, and every once in a while I have to stop and pick it out. All right, so we're coming up to where I missed a lot of footage. And so here's a photograph, and you can see all the areas that I covered with both the paper and with the masking fluid. And then I really apologize. I missed the first couple layers of this blue wash. I started, the wash I'm covering up right now was with cobalt blue, and this wash is ultramarine, and it wasn't quite dry the first coat. It was like, if I put my hand down on it, I could tell it was just a little damp. So just enough to where it didn't, putting the second wash on top didn't move what was underneath, didn't lift up, but I had enough leeway where I could play with it for a while before it really got dry. And I think, yeah, I missed going over this with another coat of Prussian blue just up toward the darker parts. So thank you. Come back for part two. It should be not more than a week before I get that out, and we'll see you then. Thanks.